What's up, folks? Good to see you. And I have some background noise here, so let me fix that, see where that's coming from. Found it. Double check this and this and this and that. And we are looking good now. Gotta love the live streams. There's always some sort of crazy stuff. So welcome to the show, folks. Let me say hello to some of you folks before we bring our guest up. You guys have been chatting it up for a while, so let me kind of roll back this here. We got Little Miss Prepper in the house, Pantry Mama, David, Prepper Cowboy, Pastor McQuaddy, KT. I'm going to run through this. What's up, Jeff? How are you doing tonight? Barbara? You see, who else do we have in here? You scroll through this here. Joni, good to see you. I'm a survivor, Prepper Cowboy. Let me see. I'm patiently. RB Black, Jan. Oh, so many awesome folks in here tonight. Trying to make sure I don't miss anybody in the beginning here. South Florida, DCL, JRC. All right. Who else do we got in here? And David, welcome to the channel. Truly appreciate you joining us this evening. All right. Citizen Guardian, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. I'm seeing that coming in already. Sue, truly appreciate the support. Citizen, Little Lone Prepper, JT. I'm trying to scroll through this quick. Van City, good to see you. I still got to email you, Van City. All right. Colleen Rich. Sue, did I get you as well, Sue? All right. Richard Moore, Judy. Oh, man, I'm trying to. Lori D. Frank Short. Rena LaRue. Mark. Man, there's a lot of you folks in there. Pepper Prepper. I like that one. Hello. For the doggies guitars. Big dogs in the house. Prepper Cowboy. All right. Lenora Wood, good to see you. Little Alaskan Home Place. All right, I'm going to have to wrap this up before we run out of time. Nikki Rhodes, Tiny Titan. We missed you last night on Magic Preppers live stream. South Florida, I was there until 2 hours and 20 minutes in as a moderator, though. As a moderator. Yarn, good to see you. S. Moore, Milo on the ready, Nikki, and Jeff. All right. So, folks, tonight we're going to have Bza Rza Gza on the channel. If you guys don't know who he is, my mods will be dropping his link down below. This is his first ever live stream. You're going to see the man behind the mic live on the channel tonight. So without further ado, let me bring up my guest, folks. And here he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Bza Rza Gza. How are you doing?
What's up, Greg? Thanks for having me, man. Hi to everybody in the chat. It's good to be here. My first live stream, so let's do it.
Right on, man. What's up, Sin, Galavidian, Libby, and there's all the other folks. Truly appreciate all you folks in here. So we're going to chat a little bit, me and Bza. We're going to talk, and I'm going to ask some questions, and then we'll field some questions from you, the viewers. You know how we do it here on the kind of the interviews and whatnot, all right? So, Bza, if you can do us a favor and kind of let everybody know a little bit about yourself and your channel, and then we'll move on from there, if that's okay with you.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like the Mr. Rogers of the apocalypse. I do a lot of writing. I tell a story. Angry Prepper or Alaskan Prepper refers to me as Bza Rza Gza, but it is Bza Rza Gza. You know I never say my name on my channel. I just come on and I read the story and keep it moving. I think I started 2015, 2016-ish is when I dropped my first video, but that's about it.
That's awesome, man. So, I mean, you've become somewhat like, this famous in regards to, what you, these books that you've written. Now, I've known you've written a couple one. I didn't know if you want to dive into the first one, when we were talking before we got on here. Like I said, that was like the initial push for you to come on to YouTube and start doing this. Was there any reason why you chose YouTube? What inspired you to go this direction with these kind of like these books?
So probably, prior to maybe 2014, I'd never even been on YouTube, never watched videos or anything. And there's 3 channels that are instrumental for me to be here tonight. And I was doing some research for a home defense weapon, and that's how I first got on YouTube. And Demcad was actually the first channel I subscribed to because he did a review on what I was looking to purchase. So, you have to create a channel name. I had never had an intention on making content. So people are always like, where'd you get the Bza Rza Gza from? And it's, I grew up a Wu-Tang Clan fan back in high school, and my buddies would call me Bza. So Bza was already taken. I went Bza Rza Gza route, and Demcat is the reason that I even got into preparedness, because after I saw his review, I said, well, let me go check out his other videos on his channel, and then seeing who he subscribed to, and that led me down the rabbit hole.
That's how it usually starts.
Yeah. So then I'd watch videos, I'd leave comments, and never had an intention of making a video or doing anything. And I became good friends with a channel called Red October, and he did a giveaway, and you had to create a video to be entered in the giveaway. And he kept encouraging me in the content section. He's like, just do it. You don't have to put your face on video. So that was the first video I ever did, was a VR to his giveaway. And I actually won the giveaway.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah. So Red October is the reason I actually started creating content. And, the rest is history.
Now, if you want to share with the folks your first rendition or your first book per se that you did, what was that called, and what was your inspiration behind that book?
I just named it EMP Grid Down Series, and at the time, I maybe had 70 subscribers, and this was back in the day when Canadian Prepper used to do his Apoca Talk videos, and like those are my favorite videos he ever did, talking about the apocalypse. So that's where I got the original idea from, listening to him talk about the apocalypse. And I was like, well, what if somebody wrote a story about living through the apocalypse? I mean, we've all, a lot of us have dreamed about it and fantasized about what it would actually be like. So I said, well, let me put the pen to paper and try and describe, a scenario of what happens. And I was maybe 5 episodes in, and a larger channel came across it. And he's not even on YouTube anymore. So one day I'm out on the golf course, and my phone's just going nuts. I picked up like 1,200 subscribers in one day and all these comments, and I come home and I'm like, what's going on? So I go through, my YouTube feed, and I see this video that they had made about me, 7 minutes long. And after that happened, I got momentum, and I had just kept it going. And, it kind of grew into a cult classic.
It's always beneficial when there's someone out there that comes across you and you're struggling, you're trying to get through there. Laura Heath, welcome to the Grey Nation. Truly appreciate that. Truly appreciate the support. And someone said buffering. I don't see anything on all 5 of my monitors here, so I think we should be okay. If you're having buffering on your side there, sometimes you might want to refresh. You know how YouTube can be at times. So like I was saying, it's beneficial sometimes, when someone comes across you and sees this untapped talent, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of folks out there that are struggling just to, they have great content or a story to tell or whatever it may be. And sometimes it takes someone that has a presence here on YouTube, the platform, to help you out. And it's a good thing to get those subscribers and for people to enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
So we won't get into the whole thing about. I know after that you didn't really finish that one, right? You moved on to the Carrington.
No, so I mean we can get into it. Okay. I'm an open book.
All right, no problem. I just like to make sure I don't want to put anybody on the spot, Yeah,
no. So I took a 4-year hiatus. I just stopped that abruptly. I had a lot going on in life. At that time, my marriage was on the rocks. So when I abruptly ended that, the marriage ended, I moved out, and just kind of started a new life. And for 4 years, I was gone. Left that on a huge cliffhanger. And throughout those 4 years, I was still getting messages from people saying, hey, when are you going to finish this? I can't believe you left us on this cliffhanger. And, I was just in a different place, in those 4 years. And then December of 2020, I was in quarantine, and I just, I thought, what, maybe it's time I come back. But I didn't want to go back to that story. I felt like it had been too long. 4 years had passed. So I said, let me start something new. And during quarantine, I just started writing away with the Carrington Chronicles, and took off from there with that one.
Yeah, it's a very intriguing story. And before we jump into that, Van City, thank you so much for that super chat. Truly appreciate the additional support on the channel. Very much appreciated. And if you guys get a chance, please give this a thumbs up. Believe it or not, it does help the YouTube, machine process things and work well. So as you were sitting there in quarantine, because I like when you go to the first episode of the Carrington Chronicles, I noticed that I'm listening to it. When I first started listening to it, it was like, okay, it's almost dialoguing what's actually happening, like right then and now. And then I like how you go into it, and then it starts to get that twist to it. So like, just what was your I guess your creative resource for that? Was it just sitting there in quarantine?
Yeah. I mean, there was, back then there was so much going on with, the pandemic, with the presidential election coming up. So, I wanted to include that and, just start the story there. Some of it, that the beginning of that was all nonfiction. That was all true stuff going on. And then, I didn't want to dive right into it. So we started off with some nonfiction, and then I spun it off with the CME that had.
Yeah, I like how that twist came in there. And I was just saying something to McBean. McBean, I just read your email. I'll get back to you after the live stream tonight. Might be doing something with him as well on an interview coming up soon. All right. So like in your head, is that one of your is that what you would consider one of your most, how do I want to say this? I'm trying to think of, like, for disaster situation, do you feel like an EMP is probably the more probable out of the scenarios out there, in the prepperverse things, or in people's general mindset? Is that like why you went with the EMP kind of thing, or?
Well, yeah, originally the EMP, but out of the two, I would say a CME would be more likely to occur. Those happen all the time, and it's just, like Dr. Arthur Bradley said, it's just a matter of time before, a huge one hits.
It's funny you brought the doc up, and I replayed that live stream. I always go to replay my live streams. And in the beginning, when I asked him about that, he said, I expected Carrington-like event to happen in my lifetime, being his lifetime. And I'm thinking, wow, that's could be any day now, and it could be the next day, or it could be 15, 20 years from now. I was like, I kind of like made the hairs, stand up a little bit,
1859 was a long time ago. We're due.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's a scary scenario. Now, outside of an author and whatnot, since I'm assuming that you watch a lot of preparedness videos and stuff like that. Are you a prepper yourself?
Yeah. Like I said, Demcat is the reason I got into preparedness. After I watched that review he did, then I dove into his older videos, and I said, you know what, this isn't a bad idea, to put some stuff aside. And Demcat's the reason that I got into preparedness, and it's personal insurance, really.
I know, I agree. That's what I try to tell everybody. It's being prepared in any form, or however you want to look at it, is a form of insurance. It's an insurance for you and your family, for survivability, in case anything goes sideways, be it from something simple to something off the wall, like an EMP or a CME situation like that. Yep. Now, kind of getting back into your into the Carrington Chronicles, your character development, stuff like that. Like, where do you pull that from? Is it just something off the top of your head, or is this like you take pieces of your life and kind of like incorporate it into this nonfiction kind of idea, or fiction idea?
Well, a lot of it is true. As far as the characters in there, I really have a neighbor, Jim and Jody. I really have a Jennifer in my life that's my bestie. Blake was actually a person that came to me, just like in the story, when ammo was so hard to find, that we went to the same gun range, and I sold him some ammo. So, they're all true characters. And the funny thing is, 2 episodes ago, when I killed off Jody, I went over to their place and we had cocktails, and they've never listened to the story. I've told them about it. I'm like, you guys are in an audiobook I write, and I played the episode for her before I published it on YouTube about her death. And, by the time the episode's over, like, she's bawling her eyes out at the table, crying.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, because that was before the one you dropped just recently. I think was it the other day. You left off that kind of cliffhanger where she was bleeding and whatnot, and it was just blood, and then it was like, boom, it stopped. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? What's happening next?
Yeah, the dead don't bleed, Gray.
The dead don't bleed. That's exactly right, brother. Oh man, and it's just it's crazy. I just like the way that the story is built up and the way you leave certain parts the way they are, you know what I mean? To kind of what you get in tune to, like, okay, I can't wait to this next week so I can hear the next part of this.
Yeah, I got to give you a reason to come back.
This is true, and it's smart. It's a great way to do it, to be honest with you. And agreed, Red October. Hey, what's up, Northern Girl? How you doing? What was I going to say? So I know, I think we were talking about this behind the scenes. It's like your plans down the road. Do you plan on moving forward to, let's say, an audible style format? Do you ever plan on trying to like write a book, you know, and you know, either do, you know, what do they call it? A personal publishing or individual publishing?
Yeah, you know, self-publish on Amazon, Audible route. So when I started the original EMP series, there was probably at that time 6 or 7 other channels that picked up on the idea and were doing the same thing. And a couple of those guys, I think there's only one left on YouTube that still does videos, but a couple of those guys did self-publish their stories on Amazon. So, you know, I plan on completing the Carrington Chronicles, and then once that's done, I still get so much demand for the EMP series to finish that. You know, that's my baby. That's what started it all. So once the Chronicles is finished, you know, I may take a little break and then dive back into the EMP series, and then possibly, you know, write out a bunch of episodes to get ahead, and then, you know, start putting those out. Because right now I'm week to week, and I feel the pressure during the week to like get one done and have it ready for Sunday. So if I don't have one up this Sunday, it's because I'm here live with Grey tonight, everybody.
You blame it on me, man. Now, that being said, like, how long does it take you to, you know, to write this? I mean, because you're saying a week to week, like you're writing it. I'm assuming you're trying to check for, you know, grammar kind of stuff like that, and then making the video. Yeah. How much time does it take you to put all this together in a week? I mean, I'm assuming it's going to take more than just a few minutes.
Yeah. So each episode, you know, a 15-minute video takes me probably 6 hours to write. And the hardest part is when I go to record the audio, because I can get, you know, 10 to 12 minutes into it, and then I'll butcher a word or butcher a sentence. And it's like, oh man, I got to start all over. Like last week's episode, like it was a 6th try before I finally nailed it, having to keep going back and start over. So between the time of writing and then recording, you know, it's 7+ hours per episode.
Right on. That is a lot of work, and people don't understand that YouTube can take up. It does take some time, especially you know, getting everything right. You know, because I'll be honest with you folks. I was going to drop a video yesterday, and I ended up just cursing at my camera and stopping and just saying I'm not doing the video today, because after like the 17th take of messing up my words so much, I was just like, okay, today is not going to be the day.
So some days the words just don't flow.
Exactly. Now I saw a comment by Christy. She says, where do you find his books? And I said, if you want to answer that question for her.
So right now, everything is just on my YouTube channel. I've got, you know, 2 playlists set up, one for each series, and, you know, you can just go down and crank through them. You know, that's probably one of the greatest compliments is when I'll get a comment and somebody will say, I just spent 6 hours binging your entire series, listening to it all day long.
That is awesome, man. And it's just, like I said, it's like you get drawn into certain things. You know what I mean? It's just like when you first listen to it, I did listen to a lot of audiobooks myself. And I'm going to ask you some questions here about that. Like when I look and I scroll through different types of audiobooks, and I'm like, okay, the title sounds interesting. And then it all comes down to the narration, the storyline, the character development and stuff like that, which eventually will pull me in. And then I'm like, okay, I'm listening to these books for, you know, the next 3 or 4 months. Yeah. It's just how it is. I don't know if you're familiar. I don't know if you listened. Have you ever heard of Angry American and his book?
No, I haven't. I've heard of him, but I haven't read the book. And then Glenn Tate and Shelby Gallagher, they did 299 days. It was something like that. That one I haven't read either, but it's on the bucket list. Yeah, the 1 Second After series. Somebody turned me on to that when I did my original series, and I've read all three of those, and they also turned me on to the TV show Jericho, which was phenomenal.
Yeah, Jericho was a great movie, and it sucks that they ended it where they did, and then that they tried to reboot it, and they did a horrible job, and it just destroyed that for me. But it was very intriguing because I love to see material like that to kind of see how people deal with it, because we can only make an assumption of, okay, if an EMP happens, or whatever happens to transpire with our country, and we're plummeted into a survival situation, we can only think of what we would do. But to hear these stories play out kind of gives me ideas like, okay, well, they dealt with it this way, and they use these scenarios to kind of work around this. Like I was listening, I can't remember the authors. I'm listening to a book right now, and it's an EMP book, and has to do with a woman who's pregnant. She was locked in a cell for 5 years. She was kidnapped by a guy in her town, and she's been in this cell for 5 years, and everything was electronically. And the EMP hit on the East Coast and West Coast, and the door opened up. And it's in Michigan. It's 0 degrees, snowstorm, and she has no idea what year it is or what's going on, and she just is running from this guy, and then it develops into a story, and I got sucked in. And I'm like, okay,
I don't know about you, but I'm programmed at night to fall asleep to listening to YouTube videos or a podcast or something. Like I have to have it on to be able to fall asleep at night. So it's a great time to listen to stuff.
And my wife always thinks it's crazy. She's like, how do you pay attention? How do you know where you left off? And I said, it's ingrained into me now. Be it and I listen to varied things, from zombies to apocalyptic to EMPs to like Dr. Bradley's The Survivalist series and how that one played out. And it fascinates me. And CMEs and EMPs are one of the most things that fascinate me the most, because it's one of those things that can have more of a bigger probability of happening versus, the zombie apocalypse, in World War Z, and here we are,
Right.
Now, speaking of that, do you have any favorite authors that you listen to in audiobooks or whatnot, or books that you may read and whatnot?
I mean, other than the 1 Second After series, that's pretty much the only one I've read.
I like to ask that questions because I like to see if anybody has, read some of the material that I've read and stuff like that. Now, do you do any additional research when you're writing your material for your books?
Not a huge amount, I just try to, keep stuff factual if I'm talking about, first aid or, facts or anything. Because, if you say anything wrong, you'll get called out in the comment section. So.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's fiction. Sometimes you have to take something and add a little bit to it. You know what I mean? It goes to say, if we want to pick apart something, let's say like The Walking Dead, they're however many years into this stuff. Well, and you still see some people driving around, and you still see them,
10 years later, and they're still driving cars.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, gas would have been gelled up and screwed by then. So, there's always that bit of fiction when it comes to a story. So I think people shouldn't, harp on you for that, because it's entertainment, In
the story, I purposely make mistakes. I don't want to write a story where I do everything that's perfect and, I'm the best at surviving the apocalypse. And some people don't realize that, and they're like, oh, I can't believe you did this, at this time. But, it's kind of my way to teach preparedness, and, you can learn from the mistakes that I make in the stories.
And exactly. And that's kind of what I was, leading into, is that you can learn when you listen to some of these stories, some of the mistakes. Like last night when I was listening to one part of the story of that book that I'm into now, it's snowy. There's these 2 cars that are oddly parked on the highway because, the EMP is hit and there's cars everywhere. But these cars kind of get you into a choke point. And being, if like for me being, retired, or I say ex-military, or however you want to call me, you know what I mean? Prior service. I'm like, okay, that's a choke point. So I can see that, but some elderly couple that's just trying to, get through this whole maze of stuff may not notice that as a choke point, and then they're getting ambushed by marauders and whatnot like that. Right. So I think for people that are maybe not familiar with understanding, let's say, choke points, or like how you said in regards to, first aid and things like that, or possible gear that you might need in scenarios like that. I'm assuming that you incorporate, different types of gear in there. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, if there's the worst time that something like that could happen is in the wintertime. So that's why I decided to go in the Chronicles, go with the wintertime apocalypse, because, surviving in, I'm in Western New York, surviving a Western New York winter without a power grid is tough.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny you mention that, because, some of the storms that have blown through, I don't know if you were affected by any, but I know some folks, there was, thousands of people without power when that snowstorm came through, or the blizzard per se, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I've probably got about 3 feet of snowpack on the ground outside. And since January 1st, we've had maybe 2 days above freezing.
Wow. That's crazy. And just imagine doing all that without no power,
Yeah.
I'm looking at folks kind of talk or kind of.
Yeah, I'm not purposely ignoring the chat over here. It's over on my left to the laptop. I'm trying to focus in here on Grey.
Yeah, no, understandable, brother. And I'm just looking at what some people are writing in their types of books that they're reading. So, folks, while I'm sitting there, if you guys have questions for Bza, please, put them. If you want to put a Q in front of it, or put it in all caps so that it'll grab my attention, and I will throw those into chat or on the screen, so that he can answer some of those questions for you. Every apocalypse is a good apocalypse. Right on, KT.
Yeah, everybody loves a good apocalypse story.
And it's I guess people, it's just like ghost stories and other material like that. People are always very intrigued by the unknown. And the apocalypse is an unknown, because most people in their lifetime haven't dealt with an apocalyptic event. Let me see here.
No, I think a lot of us fantasize about it, like what it would be like. So that's what I try to cover in the story.
Some people will get at me sometimes, because I'm like, man, can it just happen already? Just because I get so fed up with society in general, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, well, I probably don't want to really mean that, because a lot of people will perish. But it's just like, that daily grind, it's just like, I instead of living to go to work and, and do all the stuff like that, I just rather live to provide for the family and just do that kind of stuff like they did back in the day.
Yep.
Let me see here. Let me see. I just saw a question come in. Let me back this up a little bit and find it over here. And for the doggies guitars, I like the name. What are your thoughts on signing with a major publishing company?
That would be ideal. I'm just hoping, all I need is one person from a publishing company to stumble across my stories here on YouTube, and maybe we can make that happen.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool, man. And I wish the best for you in regards to that, because that would be awesome for you. It's nice to have someone in the community succeed in their goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've got 18 years on my current job, and I'm ready for something different.
Trying to see what Conquest. Do you plan to make your own salt? What does that mean, Quest? Are you talking to someone else in chat? Oh man. See, and Julie F says apocalypse stories make me think, and that's why I like them. Agreed, Julie. Agreed. Let me see, Redneck, what you got here? Has anyone asked him how he came up with his name? Well, we have. I don't know if you want to tell Redneck Prepper how you came up with your name.
Yeah, so like I said, I never had any intention of creating content on YouTube. So I bet, back in the day, I had so many people say, you need to change your name. Your channel's never going to grow with that name. And it just stuck with me. And it's funny because a lot of people, don't know apparently who the Wu-Tang Clan is. So that's where it came from. The Bza and the Rza are Wu-Tang Clan members, and I would get called Bza. So.
No, I remember it vividly in high school, man. So I definitely know. Let me see. Sunset says concern about Yellowstone. You talk about Yellowstone, the non-active, or what do they want to say? The dormant volcanic area of Yellowstone. I don't know if you've ever done any research, Bza, on that. I have, and there's conflicting information in regards to Yellowstone, and not the TV show, which did make it for season 5, which I'm excited, folks. Sheila. Oh man. But there's some conflicting things that it may never happen in regards to it actually erupting. to the point where some folks say that it would take something like a nuclear eruption or a nuclear bomb or whatnot to actually make it, get going and whatnot, or that maybe it might just do it on its own. There's like a lot of different information out there. I like to stay on point on that, but
if I see a mass migration of the animals fleeing from there, then I'm concerned.
Yeah, exactly. And that's huge. And it's funny that you say that, because I wonder how many other folks pay attention to that when you see certain weird things, like when you see mass migrations of birds, or some birds just kind of crashing because of what is it called? The Earth's magnetic sphere or whatnot. I think, is it called a magnetic sphere? Is that what it's called? I don't know, but it throws off their internal GPS.
Yeah.
And you think that means, okay, something's going on, which could also play an inclination possibly for something solar associated with solar activity. West Virginia, what's going on? Here's some other folks. Hey, Julie. All right. I just looked up. I started watching. Hold on. Let me move this up so I can read it. I just looked it up. Started watching Bza Stories in 2016. Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, JT's been with me from the get-go.
And let me see. I'm probably going to butcher your name, brother, but Higi says, hey, Bza, self-publish all the way.
Yeah, it looks like we'll be going that route eventually.
What's up, JM? I'm glad you are back, Bza. I was building a second coop when you disappeared. It's done, but I missed you. That's great.
I know JM's name I haven't seen in a long time.
All right. Oh, thank you so much, Sunset. I appreciate that. Yeah, everybody get a chance to go out there and subscribe to Bza. Like I said, here's when it comes to a channel that I suggest, or guests that I have on, is go check out their content, try a couple of their videos, and if you like it, subscribe. You know what I mean? Support that creator if you find the content valuable to you.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing better than on YouTube when you find that diamond in the rough channel that you've never heard of before, and you go through and you're just binging all their videos. One of my favorite things about this platform.
Agreed. I come across new stuff all the time. Christopher Alexander says, did you ever listen to Young Dirty Bastard?
No, I haven't. That's ODB's son, but no, I haven't. I've actually kind of flipped genres, and I'm more into country music now than I am. If it's not 90s R&B and hip hop, then.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. My wife was just having that conversation with me last night, and she was like, you've changed a lot over the last, 15, 20 years, because when I was in high school, it was the Biggie Smalls and the Tupac, the East Coast with the West Coast, and all the different kind of stuff like that. And then there was like the Miami rap, and it was pushy because my brother, who is like rednecker than rednecker, you know what I mean? He was listening to it. So of course that, I wanted to be like my brother, so I started listening to it. But now, at the point, I'm sitting here listening to bluegrass and old school blues and whatnot like that. And I enjoy that type of material because I think the way that this generation of, I guess, rap music is just not what it used to be.
Yeah. I'm more of a Morgan Wallen, John Party, Lee Brice fan these days.
Roger that, man. Let me see here. I'm probably missing stuff here. All right, let me see. What's up, Klingon Princess? Good to see you. Well, Jeff Riffle, thank you so much. Bza brought me here. Chuck Connors, thank you for visiting us, Chuck.
Chuck's one of my YouTube brothers. We got a little tight, small group. He's one of my guys.
Yeah, if anybody's coming over from Bza, I implore you, check out some of the stuff on the channel. You might like some, or you might hate some. Who knows? S. Hodson says, "Yep, if I ever see animals heading out, I'm going too." Roger that.
Yep.
All right. Let me see here. And Sue says, once you start listening to the stories, you won't be able to stop.
I appreciate you, Sue. Sue's like the most kindest subscriber I have. She makes me feel so good about myself every time she leaves a comment.
Oh, and yeah, like I said, this is a wonderful community. The people inside this community, being if they're just homesteaders, if they're preppers, they're farmers, people that are just kind of getting into this realm of things. There's so many people, gardeners. It all kind of fills this genre of information that we hear. And there's people with like way smarter than I am. I'll tell you that. Sometimes I'll read comments that people leave, like Voodoo Queen and some of the other folks that leave that JM. They're extremely intelligent when it comes to like food preservation and herbal remedies and medicinals and stuff. Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
And like bring your change. Bringer Change is helping me get my stuff right. Magnetosphere. Thank you so much, brother. Let me see. Yep. And everybody's agreeing with us in regards to the animals. And I got my screen frozen. Let me see. What does this say here? Minuteman 69. Cattle will gather together in one spot before a storm hits. That's awesome. And I've never been around cattle. So I'm glad that you said that, because now if I ever see that and I'm out somewhere and I see this, I'm like, okay, storms are brewing. That's cool. That is cool to know. I'm looking for any other questions. Is this Feral Channel? There are somebody patients home. And yeah, I'm blind, folks. I don't like wearing my glasses. There's a glare on the screen. Right, we got that. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anybody.
I see Daniel God is my judge in the chat over here. I was Daniel's first subscriber.
I'm trying to catch up to you. I'm like way behind. I'm at 7:35. I don't even know what time it is. So I'm only 3 minutes behind. I like classic rock. Let me see growth.
I'm not used to being on this side of the camera. I'm usually behind the microphone. And that's one of the reasons, another reason I did the stories. I was like, I don't want to put my face out on YouTube. If I just read stories, I don't have to get out in front of the camera.
I appreciate that, Chuck. I'm looking at some of the comments about rap and stuff like that. I agree, Sheila. Oh, man. What else do we got here? I sub and look forward to reading Bza's story. That's awesome, Christy. You'll enjoy it.
Hope you enjoy the apocalyptic storytelling.
And here we got, for the doggies, guitars, your writing is intense, Bza.
I'm always worried about putting out a dud where everybody's like, oh my God, this was terrible. I'm unsubscribing to this. That's like my biggest concern whenever I put one out.
Dreams Acre, I remember that song. That is hilarious. Autographs and all, huh? That is great. We went from talking about the end of the world to rap music.
And the 90s was the best era.
Gray went to school with the fish. Everyone else was at school of hard knocks. Gray was waving. Let me see. Chuck says he got Daniel to do his first video. That's awesome, Chuck.
Yeah.
Tiny Titan says you have a nice fade. Need to put it out there more.
I don't know. People say you should put out other videos, but I just like doing something different, something unique that nobody else does. It's kind of my thing. And they're always like, well, you should put out other videos besides, writing the stories. But like I said, I like being behind the microphone, not in front of the camera. Yeah,
it's it has its pros and cons, my friend, because then once you're in front of the camera, people will tend to pick you apart sometimes, you know what I mean? Because of whatever you may say or mistakes you may make, man.
I've been blessed. I've had the greatest subscribers, maybe one or two people, but that's going to happen with everything.
Agreed. So I was curious, like I said, once you take that break and you wrap up the the Carrington Chronicles, what kind of direction you feel that you might go into in regards to storytelling from that point on?
Well, once that happens, I've got so much demand to finish my original series, that I left at a huge cliffhanger 4 years ago. So I'm going to have to go back and finish that. And then, once they're both finished, the plan is to self-publish Audible, Amazon, and see what happens. And then maybe eventually start a third one.
Yeah, it's always when I'm reading books, and sometimes the books will leave off, even though I've read, let's say it's a series of 6 books, even at that 6th book, and I'm writing, I said, well, there's still more story to be heard here. You know what I mean? And I always wonder what the authors are thinking. So it's kind of
keep it going.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to pick someone's mind who does this, for a living. Well, not saying it's your entire living, but something that you've been doing for quite some time.
One day, hopefully.
Yeah, people ask me that all the time about YouTube. I'm like, man, are you going to make YouTube a living? I said, I don't think I could ever depend on YouTube. It's a platform that if anything goes sideways, yeah,
Yeah, it takes a lot of work.
Hold on, I'm trying to read something. Research everything. You need to research everything. Look at the Joe info. Joe info. How do you do this, man? Where is that at? Can I see it on here? I can't see it on here. It's upside down writing. I can't even read it. I don't see it on this part. Oh, I'm way behind. That's why. All right. I think I saw a question coming in. What was it? Bza, this is how people talk when they are shivering at 20 below. Right? That's great. And Bonnie says, yes, you have to finish it. I was like, you can't leave it like that.
I know. I disappointed a lot of people, but you know, I was in a different place at that time. I disappeared, took a 4-year break from it, and was living a different life.
And Red October, you know, it's funny to say that. I don't know if you, when we were watching Magic's live stream last night, I know me and you were in there, and Rudy had said something about if you start changing who you are, and it doesn't become fun anymore, then you probably won't want to do YouTube anymore. And that makes sense because, you know, I get some sort of criticism of that. Either I ramble on too much or mix something up or whatever that I may do. That's my personality thing. But I have fun doing it. And I tried to do a video that caters to those folks, and I just wasn't unhappy. So I just trashed the video and I said, I'll never, you know, put this out of my content because it's just not me. It seems more like a commercial or something, you know? So
yeah, Red is a wise man. He's probably the most genuine person that I know on YouTube. Like I said, he's the one who got me to actually create content. So everybody should go check out Red.
Does Red actually has a channel?
Thank you. Yeah, that was Red October.
Red October. Red, you're gonna have to email me and send me your channel, or I'll have business send me your channel. I want to check out.
Yeah, he's on. If you go onto my YouTube page, he's one of my featured channels.
Okay,
You
awesome.
can find him on there.
Let me see. I saw something from Mike that popped up. Where is Mike at? There you are. You can tell writers when the grid goes down, they eat their books. I don't know what that means, Mike. When the grid goes down, they eat their books. You can tell writers. I'm trying to figure that out, Mike. You mean like because all they have is their books, and they're not prepared? Is that what you mean, Mike? I don't know. I'm trying to figure that one out, Mike. I know if I had books, the books that don't mean nothing to me, probably like my fictional books, I'd probably burn and use for a heat source.
Right.
What's up, comrade? Good to see you, Comrade Radio. What's up, Thorhaven? Let me see. Pony Girl says, I usually listen to podcasts while working on my house or gardening. So the more intense the story, the faster I work. So the stories will get me going. Right on, Pony Girl. And Pony Girl, congratulations on winning your first giveaway. I saw that last night. That's awesome. Let me see. I'm on the EMT videos. Ed from Prepper Nurse 1 talks about your stories all the time. That's awesome.
Yeah. I owe Ed a big thank you too. Ed's always shouting out my stories and my channel on his live streams. He's about an hour south of me. I've been down to his place a couple times.
Klingon Princess says, Red October rocks. Watch him. No BS. Well, maybe I'm going to have to go look at his channel, and maybe we'll have to have him a guest one day if he likes to.
Red's going to hate me for this because Red likes to have a small channel. You know, he's going to have all these people going over there now.
You know, it just, if you have value in your content, it makes you want to go check out these channels. And, you know, I like people that, you know, that, like you said, it's no BS. This is who they are. This is what they're presenting. Either like it or love it or hate it. You know, I think that's cool. You know what I mean? And especially if he was an integral part to you coming on this platform, I thank him. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, we were YouTube brothers, and now we're brothers for life.
Oh, that's true. Minuteman 69. They can make body armor for light caliber. You're absolutely right. And this is
thick.
Yeah, Christopher Alexander. I agree 100%. Books will be gold when the net goes down. I preach this all the time. Having books from, and now when I say books, I don't mean just preparedness books and survival books. I mean books about, you know, this one's just sitting in front of me, so I'm just going to grab it. But, you know, survival medicine, which is great, but gardening. Also, yeah, gardening, small engine repair, construction, plumbing, electrical work. Yeah. All kinds of stuff. The EMP, what was this one? The EMP story. Strange Spaghetti says the EMP story is a mood. Can't wait for the ending. Roger that. Yeah, but then everybody says that we can't wait for the ending. And then when it ends, we're like, we want more.
I originally was going to end that at like after the 10th chapter. And, at the end of the video, I put, the end with a question mark, and they were up in arms with pitchforks saying, you can't stop this now.
Right on. And that is awesome, Red October. And I agree. We should. There's a lot of great smaller channels out there that deserve a look at. You know what I mean? They add value to whatever that you might be researching at the time. So, when you put in something in Google and you'll type in how to start a fire, right? And as the first person that comes up has like 5.6 million subscribers and 30 billion views. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to watch this one because he has to know what he's talking about. And I've come across videos like that in the past, and they were absolutely wrong in the material that they were presenting. Didn't leave a comment. I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to watch this, but I'll check, someone else. So I started looking down for smaller channels that maybe have only 500 subscribers or less, and they will break things down a little bit more methodically than some of the larger commercialized channels at this point.
Yeah, and they'll interact with you. When you get so big, then it's hard to interact with your subscribers.
Agreed. And trying to see here. Old books would be TP in the shift. It depends. There's certain books that coloring books and stuff like that we, for some reason, that we have boxes of after they probably could make good toilet paper. And so we got Sheila gonna have to check out the stories for sure. Yeah, I suggest everybody do. And Believer for Life, these stories get you ready for what's yet to come. God bless everyone. And yeah, agreed, 100%. To me, even a fictional story you can learn from, or even the movies, TV shows, and stuff like that. It's better for them to make mistakes, and then you analyze what's going on in that situation. And you're like, let me make a mental note or write this down because I've learned something from this material, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I won't mention any spoilers for people that haven't listened to it yet, but I intentionally make mistakes throughout the story.
Are you hoping that that folks will like catch on to it? Like they're like, oh, he just made a mistake. Like you want them to like say it so that they notice it.
Right. Or they'll leave a comment down below, and I'll explain it to them and say, I don't want everything to go perfect for me, because chances are that's not what it's actually going to be like.
JT says, when you publish, I want to order an autographed copy of each.
I will guarantee that and promise that to JT.
And I'm trying to maintain the chat as well as keep the conversation going. Flyover State, so do I. John Steinbeck, the Red Pony. That's just the story I grew up with in high school. All right, here we got one. Red October says, and now since he got you in this, he's kind of pushing you into a direction here, man.
Yeah. Red and I are big Walking Dead fans, and Red's always been saying that you need to do a zombie series.
That being said, so am I. I am a zombie fanatic. Most of the folks know I'm a zombie fanatic when it regards to that type of material, even though it's probably way out of the realms of things. But The Walking Dead, people are like, oh, I haven't watched The Walking Dead since season 5. I'm like, man, you've missed a lot.
I still watch. And I watched Fear the Walking Dead too. Fear the Walking Dead, the last 2 seasons have been phenomenal.
Yeah, I did some research in that, and they decided to backtrack a little bit and go in a different direction with that one to kind of make it more excitement and add to it. And it's always great the folks that are writing this material, because I wonder where they pull this information at, and then of course tying it in with the music, tying it in with the the special effects and whatnot to make it look so authentic is awesome. Being that they just dropped a nuke and now that kind of stuff like that. So now you're dealing with a nuclear fallout and zombies. It's like a double apocalypse, you know? Now for some of you folks out there who probably don't watch The Walking Dead, Bza, I don't know if you watched this part. Did you watch, it was a 3rd spinoff. It was with the kids.
Oh, World Beyond.
Did you watch any of that?
No, I watched the 1st episode and I was like, I can't do this.
Okay. So if you don't watch any of it else, watch the season finale. And when it ends, it sucks when it ends. I was like,
oh,
okay.
I heard about, I think I know what you're going to mention.
Yeah, the fast zombies.
Fast moving. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, what are they going to do here, man? What is The Walking Dead? They're going to up the ante in this whole situation now.
Yeah, like I feel I could do pretty good in a zombie apocalypse if they're slow moving, like the majority of them are on The Walking Dead. But if they're fast moving, I don't want any part of that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like World War Z. I'm like, you're just screwed. We got a question that popped in. Harvey Black. Good to see you, Harvey. It says, Bza Rza Gza says top 3 prepper tips.
I would say probably your most important prep is your body. Being healthy, being able to, get out and just walk 5 miles. If the grid did fall down and you don't have a vehicle, I mean, you're going to be on your feet. And a lot of people are going to struggle with that. So I would go health, food, and water.
Roger that. And that makes total sense. You said health, food, and water, right? Because you got to have water, you got to have food, and the healthier you are, it's going to make life so much easier. For sure, 100%. And I saw Red wrote something. I can't. Where did it go? Red said something about too many young kids and not enough adults, something like that. And yeah, my problem is I get sucked into anything with the zombies. I've watched, like, they're not even B movies, they're like F movies, just to know that I've watched every zombie movie out there. Even watch the foreign ones that you have to read the dang things and stuff like that.
I can't read the subtitles. I'm out on that.
Like I watched Train to Busan, and I was like, this is, people kept on telling me, you got to check it out, you got to check it out. And I was like, did they make an English version yet where they're lip syncing? Because that would be work for me. And they're like, no. And I said, all right, fine, I'll put it on. And believe it or not, it was actually a pretty good movie. I even watched the follow-up to it. But it's not as entertaining as being able to understand and everything running smoothly per se, right?
Yeah, I need my Rick closure. Like we need to get the Rick movies going and get them out there. I don't know if you can see over my shoulder there. I got a huge picture on the wall with Rick Grimes and his python.
Nice.
But
that is awesome.
We need closure on these movies.
I'm so far behind. I don't even know where I'm at right now. I got to see if I missed a question. Let me see. Body and mind. I hate fast movers. Thorhaven says he hates fast movers too. Let me see here. Little pig, let me in. Yeah. Negan was a beast, man. And it's curious to see if you haven't watched where Negan has evolved into now. It's pretty intriguing to see his character development over the past and what it is now.
Actually, the governor was my favorite villain on that show. I thought the governor was better than Negan. Yeah.
The governor was pretty intriguing. Nature Girl. GreyMan, you sound like my other brother. I think his movie collection has everyone. That's awesome, Nature Girl. Kensington Ave Zombies. Right on our tent life. Good to see you, brother. Let me see. 5 miles, dude. I just turned 50. Only my brain can do 5 miles these days. The body is non-compliant. Right on, Julie. Oh, Joni, and yes, I did get the seeds. I was going to share that, if you don't mind, Joni, on Thursday night stream when I'm sitting here all by myself and we're just rambling on. Quest Conquest. I just saw that come in. I don't. Maybe it's a question for both of us. Do you want to go first, Bza?
Yeah, I have board games. I've got kids. We play a lot of Clue. Monopoly. Big on playing cards, actually.
Mm-hmm. No, and I agree with you there, brother. I think you have to, especially if you have kids. You have to, because there has to be some sort of grounding thing when something bad happens. Grounds
normalcy.
Yeah, normalcy. There you go. Better term, more understandable than grounding. I have like these conversations with folks because I have a friend that's like a psychiatrist kind of person, and they're always talking to me about their stuff, and they've gotten me to this word of grounding. Because if you're ever in a situation that's just out of control and everything is just going haywire, you try to focus on something that brings you back to reality, which is like what they call a grounding technique. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's weird how different people use for those techniques to ground themselves. And it's funny, I've heard it in books as well. That now I'm thinking about it. There's a person that she has to count, like if it's fence rails or if it's something in the sky or cars, before she can get back to just being normal.
Yeah, that's music for me. That would probably be the biggest thing I would miss, if the grid ever went down.
Oh, Nature Girl says, I thought I was an old nerd that liked that stuff. And Minuteman, you're absolutely right. Sometimes I wonder about that. Either when I'm doing a video or a live stream and I'm just talking for an hour, I'm surprised that I can hold an audience of at least 100 people, to be honest with you. And it's funny, someone mentioned to me like, "Hey, Grey, you're growing. You have like, this many subscribers. You don't think more people would be in a live stream?" So I've analyzed that whole process, and YouTube says if you can at least get the minimum is like 7% of your viewers to join you on a live stream, you're doing well. 10%, 15% and above, of course, then you're excellent.
Right.
But a lot of people watch things on the replay that I've noticed. Like come morning time, I'm like, wow, that many people watch this, and then it kind of progresses throughout the day.
Yeah, I catch your Thursday night show on Fridays because by 10:30 I'm sleeping in bed, so I'll catch you Friday morning.
OCD, it's kind of, what is it? OCD, it's kind of sounds like this grounding. Yeah, I guess you could say that. And go figure that a psych would tell you to do that, right? Let me see. What is this one? Bonnie says, "Do you have the new Clue? They took Mrs. White off the board. Crazy." Yeah, well, that's the whole woke crowd. You know what I mean? They're changing everything in the world, man. And Yahtzee, yes, Yahtzee's a pretty fun game. Yahtzee in the Apocalypse. Let me see. We got playing cards, the Book of Hoyle. GreyMan, Rick Vaden says, "GreyMan, are you in Michigan?" I once was, brother. I once was in Michigan from age 10 to 15, 16-ish. Been a Florida boy 95% of my life. I was born and raised in Florida, was up there, and then everybody moved back down here. So I came back to Florida and been here ever since. I'm on the east coast of Florida, east central Florida.
I'm jealous about that.
Yeah, people ask me today, "Hey, what's the temperature?" I'm like, "Well, it's a balmy 57 degrees." You know what I mean? Other people are like, "Yeah, it's like -13 here."
Yeah, I got a couple of my good buddies that are down in the Orlando area, and they're, "Oh my God, it's so cold. It's 55 today."
Let me see. I'm really good at Scrabble. I love Scrabble, man. It makes the brain think. Let me see here. I saw something. Here we go. Here's a question that popped up. Where is it at? Here we go. David says, "Do you think being more of a loner than a big group would be better to survive?" I'm assuming I'll let you go first if we can both tackle that question. It's a good question.
I think somewhere in between a loner and a big group. Yeah, I don't think you want too big of a group. Because eventually, personalities are going to clash. And, going the loner route, everybody says it, you're going to have to sleep at some point.
And I'm going to agree with you on that one because too big creates issues. And you're absolutely right. I think there's a well-rounded number. I don't know specifically what that number is, but because you're going to have to depend on these people and your family, their lives with these people. So when you look at that situation of bringing someone in your fold, can you trust them with not only your life and having your 6, but your children's lives? And that's
I look at it like this: if I can't trust them with my children's life, then no need to be in a group with them. Agreed,
100%. Daniel, God is my judge, says, "Question for Bza. What's your favorite game? Quarters?" He must know you or something.
Yeah, I know Daniel very well.
Oh, man. That is great. Deacon says, FEMA Region 4. I like how folks use the FEMA regions. I forget what FEMA region I am.
I don't know mine either. I'll have to look it up.
Let me see here. We move back and forth. They call us snowbirds. We have snowbirds here in Florida, and we give them crap sometimes because of the way they drive. But not all snowbirds are bad. There's a lot of them. The 90-year-old snowbirds that are here don't know how to drive, especially when it rains. Creates havoc on the streets. Let me see here. There's another GreyMan in Michigan. That's kind of cool. Maybe it's my clone. Who knows? Jam was 80. Jam 80 degrees. Where are you at, Jam? You down in Arizona or somewhere?
I won't see 80 until June.
Yeah, right. I'm working on cleaning up my garden. I know people say, "Why don't you video that stuff, Gray?" And I'm like, "It's no one wants to see me digging dirt and pulling weeds and stuff like that." At least I'm pretty sure no one wants to see that. All right. A lot of people are saying that they love Daryl Dixon. Daryl is a heartthrob for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
Annie Box says she wants to be Carol. Well, Daryl and Daryl are getting a spin-off series, aren't they? If I recall correctly.
Yeah, they're supposed to.
Red Eye, good question. Oh man, I would love to have Daryl guarding my 6. Roger that, Julie. Roger that. That crossbow.
He looks like he may smell though. He always looks dirty.
Yeah, right. He just doesn't care, man. And well, here's what I could say about that before we get into JM's statement is I guess being dirty in a survival situation might be there's pros and cons. You know, health-wise, it's probably not the best thing. But if you're trying to disguise your scent, depending on how you smell, you know what I mean? If you blend in with the environment, maybe that might be more beneficial. I don't know. I guess you would have to assess what works better for you in the environment.
If you're looking like you're homeless, then people are probably going to say, this guy probably doesn't have much of anything that I want.
Right. AKA going gray, as they say, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And JM wanted to touch on what we're talking about, the mags and whatnot in groups. It says, do you like them or get along with them and their personality? This can be true. Let me see here. And I'm kind of like getting close. Yep. Driving Florida bananas. Oh, man. There we go. Here's what's business. Pure Blood says, what is your favorite coffee?
Never, ever had a sip of coffee in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you a tea guy or anything? Or
no? So my 8th grade social studies teacher, bless her heart, Mrs. Shannon, had the worst cigarette and coffee breath in the world, and she was a close talker, so she'd always be in your face. And because of her, I never went the coffee route.
Dang, that's I see. I grew up with it, and when I tell people this, they think I'm crazy. I'm gonna be honest with you. I had Café Bustelo, which is a Cuban coffee, which is a very robust, strong blend. When I was 2 and 3 years old, they put that in my bottle. So people look at me when I'm drinking coffee in the middle of the night. Literally, I'm like, it doesn't keep me up. I'm so used to it. It's just like drinking water at one point or another.
Yeah, I don't do coffee and I don't do Spam.
Let me see. You don't want to say that. I'm telling you, man. I said something about Spam one time, and man, the nasty comments. You said no Spam. Are you crazy? Spam. Wash your Spam. If you're so crazy about salt, just wash the damn meat. You'll be fine.
My neighbors, Jim and Jody, they actually gave me. They know I hate Spam. They gave me a can for Christmas, and I'm actually going to go bury it in their garden so they find it when they start planting.
That's awesome. Are you into gardening, brother?
No, but they do a pretty big garden, and I welcomed anything in it. So I let them do the hard work, and then I just take what I want.
Daniel, it's funny you brought up this question. I've never really told anybody. I guess I'll tell people now because people really don't know where it is. So I've taken certain things like sweet potato slips and stuff, and started growing them in some of the trails that I run across, off, not really on the trail, but off a bit, just as a fallback for food. And it's funny you mentioned that. It's the first time anybody's ever asked me about that, and I guess you would consider it hidden, but most people don't know what to look for is their issue. I find all kinds of interesting things out there in the woods. But yes, I guess to answer your question, I do have some stuff, mainly sweet potatoes, because they're very great in our soil here in Florida. And once you let them run, they just kind of run rampant.
Daniel's a big Glock guy.
Dragon says blasphemy, Bza. Oh man. Well, folks, we are at an hour, a little over an hour now. Do you guys have any last minute questions for Bza? Let me see. Let me see what I saw something pop up. Got to catch up on The Walking Dead. Missed since Carol got bit and then killed himself. Oh, Carl. Oh, okay. You're not too far behind. A lot of things have changed. You can binge watch it on the Netflix, I guess. I mean, even though Netflix raised their prices, but here we go with
season 8 when we lost Carl.
Yeah, Carl. That was rough, man. That was rough. Glenn was rough for me too. And
I was never a Glenn fan. I didn't care when he left. I liked Abraham.
Yeah, Abraham. Yeah, I like. It's funny because Abraham and I read the comic books. I read all the Walking Dead comic books, so I have an idea how this whole story is going to end. So it's very intriguing to say the least. But I was waiting for Abraham to actually hit the screen, and when he finally did, I was like, they did a great job of picking that character.
Yeah,
did a great job. I'm looking to make sure we don't miss anything. Good show. Thank you, Sally. me see. Wink says guerrilla gardening. It's a real thing. Roger that. Let me see. Really like that idea. Thanks. I don't know if they're talking to me or not. Someone said Glocks suck. Everybody, when we get into the gun chat, man, it's a complicated situation. Everybody has their favorites. Some things that I carry on my holder, you know, that I'm not going to pull it out or nothing right now because YouTube will probably flag that. But everybody has their preferences, you know, from a small frame to, you know, all the different types of frames, revolvers and all kinds of stuff, caliber. It's crazy. Let me see. What is this, JM? Grey, you should drop seeds in different places for secret survival patches just off your routes. And JM, it's funny you say that because that's kind of where I'm going with that. I'm trying to find things that don't need a lot of maintenance. Like I've gotten spots where there's a lot of muscadine grapes at. So I have the fruits and then I have the carbs. So I'm working on that. I'm working on that, but can't tell too many people. Just here on YouTube. Just here on YouTube. All right. Appreciate that, Red October. Great show. Thanks, Raymond, for having my bud AR-15 or 12 gauge Bza.
Probably a 12 gauge. That was my first ever purchase, and that's what I won Red's giveaway with, was with that.
Yeah, and I agree. The crossbows work well too. I'm trying to see. I saw something else pop up. Let me see. Where was it before we wrap this up? Can't wait to start the Carrington Chronicles tonight. JRC, you'll enjoy it, man. You'll enjoy it.
Yep. I hope you enjoy it.
Drop him some feedback. Anybody who goes over to Bza's channel, please let him know that Grey sent you, so he knows at least where you're coming from.
Yeah, I try to like, heart, and reply to every comment that somebody leaves. I feel it's important to interact with them.
I'm huge for that too, and sometimes it'll bite me in the butt because I'm spending 2 hours answering comments.
Yeah.
That's awesome, TN Bushcrafter. Good to see you. Be a short freestyle, please.
Back in the day, I used to. Not anymore.
Oh man, and thanks Harvey for dropping the link. Let me see. Plant sunchokes. They come back every year, cook like potatoes. Thank you, North and South Homestead. Definitely will look into that. Definitely look into that. Let me see. Making sure. Okay, I think we're all caught up, folks. Whoops, that popped up there. What was that? I thought I saw something, but I couldn't find it. Kind of like triple antibiotic ointment. All right, so that's going to be it for the show tonight. I truly appreciate every one of you guys joining us this evening. Truly appreciate you, Bza, also for joining me and taking the time out to come and hang out with the great community as well. You're part of that community. I've always seen you in chat floating around and in comment sections. I always appreciate that, man. So thank you so much for that.
You're a good dude.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. It's can't please everybody, as they say, but I appreciate that when folks show some Grey spit it out, that to get that support from you folks. There we go. That makes sense. Other than that, mods, you as well. I truly appreciate you guys helping me out this evening. You guys always keep the chat clean. And thank you. If you haven't hit that thumbs up button, please do. And if you haven't seen the Bza or went to his channel yet, go check that out too, please. So truly appreciate that.
Hope to have a new chapter up on Sunday. I wrote about 4 pages yesterday, so we're still in good shape.
That sounds good, man. All right, if you want to hang tight, Bza, while I run this thing real quick, and I'll chat with you backstage. God bless everyone. This is GreyMan. I'm out. I'll see you guys on the rebound.